from the beginning. So this all we've already covered, topics which we finished. What is recruitment? Then the features, the important two sources, internal and external. We started with the types, that is transfer and promotion, the merits and demerits, external sources. We discussed advertisement, employment exchange, placement agency, campus interview, recommendation, casual callers, direct recruitment, labor contractors, the factors to be considered, comparison, and the three important methods, direct, indirect, and third party. Now we also started with a little bit of selection yesterday. So what is selection? Can anyone tell me?
Selection is a negative process which involves...
It's a negative process, excellent. But what is selection? I know it's a negative process.
It is a process of choosing the suitable candidate for a job or a vacancy.
To fill the vacancies of the organization. Yes, Muskan, you have a question?
Ma'am, actually it is a previous one.
Which one? Where you want me to go back?
Ma'am, I'm not understanding. Ma'am, I'm not understanding the direct recruitment.
Okay, I'll just come back to it. 1 second. Methods 1, direct recruitment. In this method, the representative of the organizations, they are sent to the potential candidates. They establish contacts with the candidates seeking the job. So in direct recruitment, what is happening? You don't have any third party involved. I'm not hiring any employment agency. I'm not hiring any placement agency to get a job to me. Directly when a person, like a casual caller, he goes to the institute or he goes to any organization and he drops in his CV and is directly contacted. That becomes a source of direct recruitment. Even campus recruitment. Today, you will be doing an MBA later, or probably in any course which you think, any managerial course, you will be taking admission in reputed campuses. Like say, what about Symbiosis? Symbiosis is one of the most common campus recruitments in India. In fact, in Pune, it's one of the most popular forms. Now here today, if you take admission in Symbiosis, okay, and 2 years you did a managerial course like an MBA. Once you have done 2 years course, you have now earned the degree of the MBA post. From here, now suppose Symbiosis is attached to the big brands like Dabur in India, or like some, let's take PepsiCo. Many different big brand business houses are there which are attached to Symbiosis. Now what will these brands do? Instead of going outside, okay, and taking a third party recruitment, they will directly go to the campuses and they will take the students who have already undergone these courses. Now there are two advantages of direct recruitment. Number one, they are getting qualified people who have already undergone the training, have undergone the qualifications of an MBA process, etc. Number two, obviously these people are startups. Any student who starts first in a job, he or she will not ask initially only a very high package of salary. Being a starting job, they will agree to work at a lower scale, isn't it? Because it's your first job. So here it is an advantage for the student because he's directly getting a placement, and it is an advantage for the business house because they are getting good candidates from the campuses. So all these sources are coming under direct recruitment. Are you understanding, or you still have any more questions with direct recruitment? In fact, you also have certain principals, directors of educational and professional institutions who tie up with these campuses to provide you direct source of recruitment. You have the engineering colleges, and these method is also suitable because what is happening is it is suitable for those jobs where you need proper professional and technical knowledge. And these, like an engineering institute or a management institute or an IIM, people have already undergone training. They are knowing from the fact of 2 years, 3 years knowledge. Like to get into a Symbiosis college is only very difficult. So today, if I'm getting into a college like that and getting myself educated in that field, and from there directly getting a job, it kinds of, places you career-wise. Okay, anything else you want to ask me here related? Any more doubts? Okay, great. So can we start with the, today we will start with the different steps of selection. Features just quickly. In selection, you have to be very careful because we are eliminating we are weeding out the unwanted candidates. It's a negative process. Number of candidates rejected is far more than the ones who are selected. This is a very important point here. Basic purpose of selection is to choose the right type of candidates and to who can fill up the vacancies of the organization. Selection is always done after recruitment. First, you will gather a large pool of candidates. From that, the selection procedure will take place. And both recruitment and selection come under the functions of personnel management. When you go to class 11 or 12, and if you take up commerce, you will see there is a management chapter. And in that, you have different functions, like you have a planning, directing, controlling, different parts this management chapter is divided into. And one of them is personnel management, that is HR or human resource. Okay, anything to ask? Can I go with the steps, or you have any questions to put up to me? Okay, great. Meet, please put on your video. Then we had done the differences between recruitment and selection. I had already discussed this. This is important. Please do it well. This comes as both 2 marker and 5 marker. Okay, searching for prospective employees, choosing the correct candidate, positive and negative, easiest. So whenever a difference comes, please, if it's 2 marks, write the easy ones, positive process, negative process. So you get your one-on-one. Understand, don't go with the bigger ones. Always be intelligent when you're writing a paper, that where you can score well, use those parts where that this is again, if I would be doing a 2 mark answer, how I would write nature, positive process, negative process, order, done prior to selection, done after recruitment, because I know this is very easy and I can get 2 on 2.
But if we write such things, then you say that you have to write the full sentence.
No, I said that if it, see, in commerce, you have to be careful with the keywords, what you're using. Like in recruitment, if I just write here prospective employee, it doesn't make sense. Or if I just write candidate in selection, it doesn't make sense. You have to write the full sentence here. Searching for prospective employees, stimulating them to apply for job, because then the meaning is proper. But in process, what even if you don't write in a sentence, you just write it is a positive process or positive process, it's good enough. So you have to understand and also select your meanings, how you're going to put up the answers. In boards, they look at keywords. Please be very careful. In commerce paper, definitions, keywords, basis of distinction, features. These are the 4 important pointers which you have to keep in mind when you're writing a theory answer. Right, now let's go to the steps in the selection procedure. I think I had just shown you the graph yesterday that what is selection procedure? It is nothing but the purpose of ascertaining whether a candidate is suitable enough, okay, and whether he has the qualifications suitable enough to apply for the job. For this, he has to go through a well-organized selection procedure. And what is the selection procedure? This we are going to learn. Okay. This is again important. This comes as a long question of 5 marks. Okay. Let's look at the first step. Step number 1, preliminary interview. Where have you heard the term preliminary? Where have we spoken about it earlier?
Ma'am, expenses.
Expenses, excellent. Preliminary expenses in the beginning, establishment expenses. So preliminary interview is the first stage. Just imagine the whole thing practically. The steps will be very easy for you. A person visiting an organization, okay, he's a candidate. He will first go up and show his qualifications. This is very brief. He goes to the reception. I go to a business house or any place where I want a job. Say I'm a teacher, so I will go to a school. There I will meet, first person whom will I meet? The receptionist. The receptionist or any other official will be there who will interview the candidate, will ask, yes ma'am or yes sir, why have you come in? So the person will say, yes, I have come in because I want to apply for a job and these are my qualifications. So in the first step itself, When you put up your CV in front of the reception desk, they will see whether your qualifications are matching enough to go further. That is step one. Okay. If they feel yes, your qualifications are good enough and you can match their job profile, they will give you an application blank. Okay, that is step number 2. Application blank is nothing but a form which you need to fill up. So in the first step, this interview stage is to see whether applicant is actually suitable for the company, both mentally and physically. So at a first go, maybe a 5-minute conversation, the person will know whether you're apt to join or whether you can go ahead or not. In the beginning, only the receptionist feel, no, your qualifications do not match my organization. So he or she will say, sir, you can please look for something else. This is not what we are looking for. And that person will be eliminated straight away in the first step itself. But if your qualifications match, second step will be to give you the application form. Then comes the application blank or the application form. Now in this stage, what you're going to do, you're going to fill up the application form. What will it contain? The name, the age, the address. What is your education? What is your job background? How many years you have worked? A variety of application forms are used today in practice. Anywhere you go for a job, this is the most important step, is they will give you a form to fill up your details. Even if you go to a bank to open an account, they give you a know your customer form. So know your person, know the person. It's very important, isn't it? I just can't take you that, okay, you will say that I am Divyata, please give me a job. Will you get a job like that? No. So a proper form needs to be filled up. Okay. And this will provide the full opportunity for the employer to gather a lot of information about the employee. You will see, they will ask you, what are your qualifications? Have you passed out class 10, class 12? Fill up your details of ICSC. Then if you do CBSC or ISC, what are your professional qualifications? Are you from a medical background, or you are a doctor, or you are a lawyer, you are a teacher? Have you done your B.Ed? Like in teaching, it's a very important part to have a B.Ed qualification. Like that, different qualifications will be tested upon. So all those things you have to fill up in that application form. This is used also as a, you can say, a device to give a little idea to the employer to know something about the employee. And generally it's quite a big form. If you will see, it will have a 2 or 3 pager form. They may even have one para to say, write something about yourself, or what are your hobbies, or what you do in your free time, or some personal attributes, like how you would do something new for the organization. Like those columns are also there in some of the application forms. Application blank or form is one of the most common methods used to collect information, like personal data, marital data, educational data, employment data, extracurricular activities, any reference, anyone has recommended you for the job, how you came to know about this job, is it through an advertisement or some relative told you about it, right? All these things. Anything you want to ask me till step 1 and step 2, you can ask.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, in application blank also, they are asking for minimum qualifications.
Correct.
And in preliminary interview also they are asking for.
Preliminary interview is a verbal interview. In the first stage, what is happening? I am verbally asking you, Muskan, what is your qualification? You will say, ma'am, I have done an MBA. When you say that, oh, okay, you're an MBA, maybe you can try for this job. Then I give you the application blank to fill up full details. But moment you say, no, I am not an MBA. I have just done my, say I have just done my graduation. I say, sorry, Muskan, we need an MBA for this job profile. Interview stops, you go home. Understood? Clear? Okay, great. Then we come to the selection test. Now I have filled up the form. Everything is done. Once the form gets filled up, that means I have cleared stage 2. I have submitted my form. After scrutinizing the applications, now what will happen? A list of the candidates will be prepared who have to be tested for the interview. You have to undergo many tests. It's not so easy nowadays to get a job that they'll just see your face and give you other job. No, they will look at many other criterias. You might be very smart, pretty, good, handsome to look, but if you're not good at your work, they'll ask you to go. So tests have become a very popular device for screening out candidates. Remember, the way you are smart, good at your work, there may be hundreds of such candidates who are coming for the job. You're not the only one. So how they're going to screen out? They will have lots of tests based on the assumption about the human traits, your work behavior, what is your skill, what is your aptitude, what is your knowledge about the job. Various types of tests are used to judge these qualities, and they help to measure the candidate's job performance. Okay, just like you feel irritable that why we have so many assessments and tests now, this is just the starting. Once you apply for job, you'll have to undergo so many tests that you will feel grateful to schools that thank you that we have been adept in handling exams and tests.
Ma'am,
Yes.
ma'am, so in selection test there are different types of tests.
Many types of tests are there. Can you see the number of criteria I have given? Dexterity test, personality test, interest test, trait test, aptitude test, intelligence test.
Ma'am, we have to attempt all these tests or options.
Again, it depends from organization to organization. Here we are discussing all of them, so you get an idea of all. But again, some may have only 3 levels of test, some may have 6 levels of test, some may have even more, like 8 or 9 levels of test. So it will depend on organization to organization and what criteria and what level of job you're applying for. See, generally at a lower level, the criteria will be lesser. Moment you go at a very high level, like an executive level or a chairperson's level, they're not going to just give you salary like that. They will see if you're adept enough to join such a post. Now let's look at the types of tests. This also comes as a 5 marker. Okay, what are the types of tests? Intelligent tests. These are used, obviously, intelligence to measure the person's capacity. What is your reasoning ability? What is your comprehending ability? What is your memory? How much you can remember? Your vocabulary, how mentally alert you are, how you can grasp things. That is your intelligence test. Then comes the aptitude test. Aptitude and intelligence is different. Please understand. Intelligence is your reasoning, your mental alertness. But aptitude is to show or measure a candidate's capacity to learn a skill. Suddenly I give you a skill and I ask you to perform on it. That shows your aptitude, how quickly you can adapt and perform that task. Okay. Third one comes trait test or achievement test or performance test. This is to understand the level of knowledge and skill which a candidate has already achieved in his occupation. I'm going for a teaching job. So they will obviously test my teaching skill. They will see that whether I can teach or not, right? So they will ask me maybe to give a demo in a school. That could be a trait test. Or they may ask me to write some answers to see if I have knowledge in that particular subject. These become trait tests. Okay. Similarly, if you go for say a managerial job, they may ask you to do some, maybe give you some task and see how you're going to handle it. That could be your performance test or a trait test. Next is an easy test, interest tests. These are employed to find out the preference of the individual. That means what is your area of interest, where it lies. Personality again tells you about your temperament, about the emotional balance. They also test what is your patience level, how you're going to, conduct yourself. Are you, out of control, or really in such cases, obviously, if your temperament is not nice, no one will want to keep you. Dexterity. What does dexterity mean? Any idea, anyone? You're very dexterous. Have you ever heard that term? Okay, dexterous means use of hands and fingers. How quick you are. That is a dexterity test. Like a typist. Okay, she's going for a job. They will see your typing speed. Okay, is she very quick at it? She's able to type maybe 60 words in a minute. Someone may have a very higher speed of typing. They may type 100 words in a minute. So these are also kinds of small tests which people look at. Tell me, anything? Aren't you feeling good? You're learning something so practical. This is a very nice chapter. This actually prepares you for lots of jobs which you will be doing later. How many of you are planning to get into campus recruitments or getting into high campuses? No one has
I'm
planned
not
for an
doing
MBA
job.
or a later. Which fields are you all planning to get into?
I'm not doing job.
You want to
Even
do a
I'm not
job.
doing
Yeah,
job.
but some educational qualification where you're going to.
I'm going to arts.
You are going to
Arts.
arts. Oh, okay. You don't want to do
I'll
only
do,
commerce. Okay, great.
and I'll do MBA, then I'll start a
Yeah, so
business.
we have one MBA candidate ready. Okay, great.
Ma'am,
Krishna, what are your plans?
Singer, ma'am, singer.
Singing. Okay.
Like
Zara and Avni?
like
No
I
plans yet.
I
Yes.
want to be a singer, but still I need to do the qualification.
Then we have to go and take Krishna's autograph later. He'll not recognize only us.
No, but for that I need to be famous and sign to a good record.
Okay, okay. Great.
I'm going into drama.
Drama. Okay. So no one wants to take up eco and commerce later
No.
on. No MBAs. Okay, one candidate we've got. Me. Okay,
ma'am,
fine. Yeah.
ma'am, these tests are handled step by step or any test at any time?
Step by step. And as I told you, they're designed by different organizations. Not necessary all 6 every organization will have. Some may have 2 or 3 tests. Some may have only 1 or just, want to see your aptitude and skill. So it depends from organization to organization. Then comes, obviously, once you have undergone all those tests, yes, then we comes to the selection of or an interview with the face-to-face interview that takes place with the employer. Till now, the employer had not come in the picture. You had not met the employer at all. Okay, till once you clear the tests, then comes the face-to-face conversation with the employer. The selectors now ask job related questions. They feel, okay, this person is qualified, he's undergone so many tests, so maybe we can now meet him or her. Now, objective. Why will the employer meet these candidates? He wants to cross verify that whatever information you have given about yourself, it is true or not, to give an accurate picture about the job, about the company. Okay, they want to know all the information from you. So that is why a face-to-face conversation takes place between the employer and the employee. Okay, employer may also ask certain questions like, what would be my salary package? Like, even employee wants to know some things, isn't it? What would be my working hours? What is the kind of work atmosphere in this organization? Lots of questions. It's like a formal interaction between employee and employer. Employer will say, you are expected to put in so much of hours in a day. We are expecting this out of you. We want certain sales targets to be achieved. Okay, or we have, if you are going for a banking job, this is the number of customers we want through insurance from you. Like that, lots of discussions take place between face-to-face interview takes place between the two parties. But again, this might not be always a very authenticated, you can say, manner of interview. Sometimes the person may be having a personal bias. The person who's the employer, he may have a personal bias towards a candidate. He might not be an expert to judge the employee well. Personal judgment may vary, it may be inaccurate, it could be a very expensive method. So lots of criterias are there. You cannot say that this is the best method of testing someone, because you don't know who's the employer and whom he is selecting for. Okay, then comes GD. How many of you have heard about GD? A group discussion. Any idea anyone has ever heard? Have any friends at the collegial levels? Okay.
No.
GD is again a very important part in any job today. In fact, even to get Meet, you are thinking of an MBA, anyone who's thinking of an engineering line or an MBA or any managerial institute, GD is very important. It's a group discussion to even get into an institute. This is an arrangement where you have a group of candidates or individuals. Okay, these applicants, they are made to sit in a group. Say I have gone as a candidate, my interview has taken up now with the employer. Now they will say, okay, out of these 100 we have selected 8 or 10 candidates. Now these 10 candidates or 20 candidates, they will be asked, they will be given a topic. Suddenly one topic will be thrown at you and you will be asked to debate on that topic or express your opinion or give some solutions in a group. And in that group, the judgment will take place. Like see, generally whenever a group activity is given, you will always note one person comes out as a leader in the group. Happens or not? Who takes the initiative, who always wants to, do things from the forefront. So they try to judge all these things. Okay, who has leadership qualities? Who's very confident? Who's able to take out the solution very fast? All that in a certain, you can say, an instant practical situation is given to you where you have to handle it and show your communication skills, your leadership skills, your listening, behavioral skills. Again, here again, your temperament is checked upon. Sometimes a difficult situation is given, some people will be afraid of it. Some people may just shy away and want to get away from it. Some people might be very angry. How am I going to do it? They start throwing tantrums or temperament. So they will start rejecting these candidates out. Okay, they will try to see who has given a very rational conclusion to that topic of discussion. And this also happens when you want to go for an admission in a managerial institute. GD is a very, very important part.
Ma'am, it also shows manners.
It shows your mannerisms, your patience level, your leadership skills, how you're handling a practical situation given at that point of time, and what is your solution to that problem. See, if I have 10 candidates, all 10 cannot have the same solution to the problem. Each one's mental capacity to think is different. And the way they will give their opinions would be different, right? So the observer will now guide the discussion in this. It also understands, he records how many times and in what each member is giving his voice of opinion. The leadership qualities, the behavior, the judgment every member has can be judged through GD. But GD is tough, even for the employer, because he has to pick out the right candidates. It's not easy for him. It's not a structured interview. So he has to pick out, he has to be very observant. The behavior of the member, whether he's aggressive, whether he's cooperative with other members, that also they will notice. The selection panel observes the participants very carefully and ranks them according to their merits. So if I have 10 candidates, all 10 will be ranked. Okay, whom they think should be number 1, whom they think should be number 2, number 3, 4, and like that, the selection or the screening of candidates would be done. Anything you want to ask me here in GD? Any questions? Muskan, clear? Okay, great. Zara, Avni, all understanding?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great.
Yes, ma'am.
Then comes medical or physical examination. Okay, why is this important? Why
If
the candidate has to
employee-
undergo a medical examination?
If in case an employee is not mentally or physically present, he can't be present mentally or
Correct.
physically.
So they have to also
it is
undergo, you have to give a medical checkup that you are fit enough to join the job. So once you have been selected after the
The
GD
medical
round,
conditions.
medical condition, a medical checkup has to be done by a panel of doctors to show that you are physically fit and you can join the workplace. Then comes checking references. This is again an important step because once you have undergone the interview round with the employer, you have finished the selection tests, now your medical checkup is also done, they will ask you to give you a reference check. Here the employer will ask you to give names of 2 or 3 people who know about you, okay, who can act as your reference. And this is important so that what will happen is a call will go to the reference person to find out that, okay, they say I have given my neighbor's address. So they will call my neighbor to find out about me. So a reference check is when an employer contacts a job's applicant's previous employer, school, college, to get a background check about that whatever you are saying is true, to authenticate you. Say I have given that I have passed out from my school's name. Say I have passed out from a particular school. So they might call up that school to check on your qualifications. All videos have suddenly got off. Muskan, please put on your video. Every candidate is required to state in the application form the names and address of 2 to 5 people. Some take 2, some take 5. But you think, is it a very authenticated reference check? Today, if you will be asked to give a reference check, will you give someone who dislikes you a reference address?
No.
You will give someone who really likes you, who knows you well. It's a bit obvious thing, isn't it? So you can't say that this is a very great way of checking on a candidate. Yes, of course, a good reference would be to understand by calling up the previous employer or previous place where you have worked. Then comes the final approval and placement, the last 2 stages. Okay, what happens in final approval? The candidates who are found suitable after the medical checkup, their background investigation has done, I have done the reference call. Formally, you will be asked that, yes, we really like you, please join our organization, and an appointment letter will be issued to you. Okay, this is a document or a proof that you have got the job. They will ask you to join the duty. Everything will be written in the appointment letter. What will be your salary structure, when you can join the organization, you know, how, like, and you will be also told your probation period. What is probation? Anyone has an idea? Okay, probation means initially they will test you in the first 2 years of your job to see whether you are a good candidate or not, and then they will make you permanent. That is called probation period. So that is the first 2 years, or first year of a job is always very difficult, because you have to understand the new job, you have to understand how to adapt yourself in that job, how you're going to conduct yourself, you know, and each organization, the rules, the regulations are very different from the other. Like from my personal experience, I can tell you I have worked in so many places, but each place is totally different from the other. So to understand the methodology of that organization and adapt yourself becomes very difficult in the first 3 or 4 months. And then later you understand, you start understanding the pattern, you get accustomed. So
Like a new student in a new school.
yes, correct. It is very difficult. Even you will see the rules, regulations, the thought processes are very different from 2 backgrounds where you come from. Once the final letter is given, then comes placement. Placement is again very important, because what post you are being placed upon. Okay, selected candidates will be put up or posted on appropriate jobs. Now in a bank, I may have 5 candidates selected, but will all 5 have the same post? No. One may be a clerk in the bank, one may be at the sales counter, one will be handling the customer, one will be taking the checks, one will be at the managers, the branch manager. So every person's post is totally different. He will be placed according to the placement criteria in the organization. This is the process of assigning specific jobs and workplaces to the selected candidates. The term placement is often used also to refer to the successful allocation of a person to a job. And this is how your whole process, starting from the preliminary interview till the placement, gets finished and you get the job. See the person dancing out of the 6 who has been actually selected. That is the happiness, getting a job offer letter. That's why I put that line. A job offer letter always puts a happiness or a smile on a person's face, that he has crossed so many hurdles and then he has got the job. So did you understand? It's not so easy that just you go to an organization and get a job easily. It's not so easy. You have to undergo many steps before you actually become fit enough to work for a job. Yes, tell me, you have what questions you have? Anyone? Yes, Muskan.
Ma'am, a person can be rejected at the 5th or 6th step also.
Any step you can be rejected. As I told you, recruitment, hundreds of candidates will come, but selection, only a few will be selected. You can be rejected at any step. You might have undergone first, second, and third step, and fourth step you're off. It can happen. What happens in a dance competition? Who's the winner? One person at the end. But in the whole round, they keep on praising all the 20 candidates who participate. But do all 20 win? No. Every point, one starts getting screened out and getting removed. That is reality of life. That's how happens in a job also. Okay. So easy. Anything to ask here? All the steps clear? So if it comes as a long question, please time yourself and write this answer. It's a big answer because you have to cover up all the steps. So if you're choosing a question of a 5 mark like this, you have to ensure that you write a para on each. Okay. So please, sometimes it also happens they may ask you only explain the first 3 stages or first 4 stages. But till whatever ICSE questions I have seen, they have also given you situational questions. Like, I don't know if it's just open at the end of the chapter if they have given you. Please, 155, those who have the book. Class is about to end. I won't be able to start training today. Look at the last one. If you see there, an organization has decided to follow a 3-tier selection process of appointing executive trainee, aptitude test, GD, and final interview. Now, they have already told you how many steps we want in the answer. Which are the 4 steps they are looking at? First, aptitude test, then group discussion, then final interview, 3 tiers, so 3 steps. Outline the details of each of them, align the tasks involved at each stage. That means you have to describe these 3 stages. Have you got it? Clear, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Understood? This is a very important answer. I will be asking you to write it. So if you have any questions, please ask me right now. That's why I have done it in detail. In fact, for 40 minutes, we've done only one part of the chapter today. I have not taken anything else today. Okay. So I'm ending the class.